With wine and dance, devotees entered a kind of collective trance. A communal ecstasy that offered escape from the oppressive divisions of Roman society.
People are getting together, they're making cells, they're making little clubs, and they're assembling in an uncontrollable way at night time in groups that are mixed, men and women, and they're not quite sure what sort of conspiracy together. And it is dealt with in an extremely bloody way. I mean, not only is the cult of Dionysus completely banned, but the consuls go up and down the country. There are many executions.
At the heart of Roman culture lay a tragic flaw. A social order that tolerated excess for the few and oppression for the many. That injustice would soon fuel the rise of Rome's most subversive cult of dissent. There was one ideal that made everyone proud to be Roman. An ideal as old as Rome itself. A commitment to cultural diversity.
Roman society was always enormously open. There's a wonderful story about Romulus, who, when he goes to found Rome, calls upon people to come and live in the city. And the passage sounds just like the Statue of Liberty, you know, everyone come. Let me take your outsiders and your poor.
1,000 years later, Rome's open-door policy was still going strong. Her fabled wealth and splendor had attracted people from every corner of the world.
You could be in the city of Rome and you could see people who were obviously African, obviously Indian, obviously Italian, Gauls, Germans. All of these people were in fact Roman citizens. And so somehow the Romans seem to have been able to find a way to achieve the American motto, E pluribus unum. They got along. There doesn't seem to have been any racial or ethnic tension within the Roman Empire.
By the 3rd century AD, Rome's immigrant spirit applied to everyone, even emperors. Septimius Severus succeeded Commodus as emperor in 193 AD. He was African, a native of Leptis Magna in modern-day Libya. During his 18-year rule, he adorned his hometown with lavish buildings. And brought some of its magic back to Rome. Severus and his wife Julia Domna were both deeply superstitious. He was devoted to an Egyptian mystery cult. She worshipped a Syrian sun god. Romans had no problem with the couple's exotic beliefs. The vast Roman Empire had a long history of religious tolerance. They lived in a pagan world that welcomed virtually everyone's gods.
There's something in the pluralism of Roman religion that makes it possible to acquire new gods. In their very earliest stories about themselves, conquest of little towns around Rome involve, one of their myths is that of evocation, when you go and you pronounce a series of prayers to beg the god of the local town to come to Rome with you, and it becomes your god, and you add to the strength of the team at Rome.
All that was asked of foreign religions was that they respect the cult of Rome by making annual sacrifices to the emperor. It was a policy intended to secure some control in a world of extreme religious diversity. There were as many cults in Rome as there were provinces in the empire. Bull worshippers from Iran, fertility sects from Egypt, rain gods from Germany.
In the city of Rome, you could experiment with almost anything. And in that way, I suspect the religious menu, the huge a la carte menu of choice, not as large as it would be in Los Angeles or in New York, but still very wide.
But by the 3rd century AD, religious diversity was leading to chaos. People were overwhelmed by the choices that surrounded them. Severus's solution was sun worship. He hoped it would prove a unifying force in a very fragmented world. Rome's wealthy decided to follow the sun in a different way. They traveled east, to Greece, Egypt, even as far as India, in search of themselves. But if Romans were confused, their leaders were completely out of control. In 211 AD, Severus was succeeded on the imperial throne by his son Caracalla, whose most memorable act as emperor was to murder his own brother, Geta.
He was sick in body and mind. He often thought he was being pursued by his father and his brother, armed with swords.
At first, Caracalla's insanity was kept in check. In 212 AD, he awarded Roman citizenship to every free man in the empire. A dramatic reaffirmation of Rome's commitment to tolerance and diversity. The emperor then set off on a grand tour of the empire. In December 215 AD, he reached Egypt. In the city of Alexandria, he was given a splendid reception by its proud new Roman citizens. The affection didn't last long. Enraged by local criticism of his brother's murder, the emperor invited 5,000 citizens into a local theater and butchered them in cold blood. In one afternoon, Caracalla destroyed the fabled value of Roman citizenship. Never had Romans felt so confused or so conflicted about their place in the world.
They're looking for something in the same way that we Americans are looking for something. I think we can use that same explanation to explain things like Heaven's Gate and the Jonestown Massacre and any of the cults that have arisen over the past few years. When they lose their identity, you find that they begin to turn to cults.
In the 3rd century AD, Romans turned to one cult in particular. cult whose message was destined to change the empire and the world forever. Christianity's dramatic rise to power in the Roman world would change everything. A cult based on the suffering of one man was set to challenge the integrity of an entire empire.